Hey, you guys. I had a moment and I'm like, let me take advantage of this moment and drop in with you guys, see how everybody is doing, speak on a topic that I know a lot of people in the community struggle with at some point or another. In the past, I've had issues with this myself. But, through increasing my emotional maturity, like I've said several videos ago, my cutoff game is immaculate. Like, once I know that this person is no longer, for the good of me, they're derailing me, they're working against me, there's no conflict. I don't care how much I love that person, how much I've done, how much I've invested in them. You know, it's quite opposite. Because I've done all of that and we're still remain at this point, I really got to get out of there even quicker. That's how I operate nowadays. And I'm very thankful for having that. But I know like it's a process to get there. And most people aren't like a light switch like that. A lot of people are still working on that. And I've said this in the past where people have to let their emotions, have not caught up to their logic a lot of times when they're getting out of these traumatic situations. And it's very psychological. There's a lot of psychological reasons. So don't necessarily beat yourself up if you're having a lot of confusion. Hold on a second, you guys. I'm just going to close my office door. Well, Tracy, maybe you can invite her to this live chat, hon. Give me 1 second. All right, you guys. So there's one of my day ones, Tracy. She said she has a friend that's confused. Well, hopefully, if she can't make it to this live chat, you can send her a link. YouTube will be uploading this after I'm done. But I'm going to go down the list, you guys. I just sat here literally in 5 minutes and I brainstormed, a lot of the reasons why people are having a hard time letting go. And I want to just address these bulletins. Like there's a bunch of them on this list, but I'm going to go through them as quickly as I can with the time that I have to do this live chat. Tracy is saying, I was sick at work last week and needed an emergency surgery. I called her to relieve me at work and we got disconnected. She didn't call or text back to check on me. Yeah, because she's probably just dealing with herself so much, and it's not even personal. A lot of times when you're in those type of spaces, you can get detached and feel very go into like a hermit mode, if you will. And it's hard for you to even be there for other people because you can't even barely be there for myself, type of thing. And and a lot of times when depression, there could be issues with depression there, and people can check out because they're not really as present as they could be because, their mind is just all over the place. Tracy's saying, but show concern after the fact. Yeah. 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 But, Tracy, that wasn't personal. Unless she's just, you said she was your friend. So, yeah, she's just going through a lot right now and she couldn't be there for you. So, I would not have certain kind of expectations right now on her. All right. But let's get to this list, you guys, about having a hard time letting go. The first thing I have on here is you guys have to keep in mind, I'm going to give you some food for thoughts here, because that's the whole thing about letting go. A lot of times is very much psychological at that point. The whole situation was very psychological, whether you realize it or not. I mean, yes, you had a physical relationship with someone and, you felt these feelings, but a lot of psychological things were going on here. But I want to point out, you've seen their capabilities, and that's something that you got to keep in mind, especially if you feel like this person was a narcissist, minimally they were a toxic person. Minimally, chances are they betrayed you, they stabbed you in the back. So they weren't trustworthy. They came up against you, they're fighting against you. They weren't moving with love or even friendship. Forget the in the instances where it was something romantic, but at the foundation of that, they were supposed to have been your friend first and foremost. Where was the friendship? Where was that part? You know? So we can't have a short memory. We cannot have a short memory. When someone shows you who they are, you really do have to believe it. So once you've seen their capabilities, and yes, we all have capabilities, whether we have tapped into it or not, but we're talking about proven facts, factual things that this person has done. They're showing you what they're capable of, the energy that they're in, the mind frame of where they are energetically right now. These capabilities, they really matter. These capabilities matter. And it's something that you can't forget. Like, we can't be minimizing these things. Like, if they did it once, yes, they could do it again. Yes. And then some. Because, in these types of situations, once somebody showed you they're no good, or they're low vibrational, or they're not a healed person themselves, all they can do until they get right with themselves is fuck up their connections. They're going to be hard lessons to everybody that don't have proper boundaries with them, because they're showing you their capabilities, and you're letting the fact that you love and care for this person make you jeopardize yourself and move out of, not protecting yourself, not tapping into your own self-love and self-preservation. Like, all of that has to go out of the window because you love this person, because you tried to have a life with this person, because you tried to befriend this person, because you tried to heal this person. Perhaps that's not your assignment. And we could take the perhaps out of it at this point. We could take the perhaps right on out of it at this point. It's not your assignment. They're not your partner. They're not for you, point blank, period. So once they're showing you these capabilities, they're willing to risk you at that point. Or, as a matter of fact, it should feel insulting because they thought they weren't risking you. They thought that they could do these things and you would still tolerate it and you would still be there. That's how they thought of you. That's how they thought of you seeing yourself and valuing yourself. So that says a lot right there. And we're just on the first bulletin. But they thought you thought so little of yourself that they could show their behinds, that they could treat you any way and you would still be there. Because trust me, if they really thought they were really risking it, unless they were done with you and this was, what they wanted to do on the way out the door anyway, they wouldn't have done it. They'd like, you know what? They're going to get mad, but they're going to stay. They're going to take it. Or I'm going to be able to finesse my way back. Just like I have, whatever other times they feel like they got away with murder or weren't fully held accountable. It's time to start doing that. And we have to let go of these toxic cycles, okay? The next thing I have here is your abundance is relying on it. Your abundance is relying on this. These people are blessing blockers. And a lot of stuff get held back from you when you're not having the right energies around you. Because guess what? Now you got to share some of their karma. Whatever they got going on, when you invite people into your inner circle or you let them too close, to you where they shouldn't be energetically, now you have to partake in whatever energy they got. They're bringing that into your life. So let's say I'm this high vibrational, high operating person doing pretty well. Now they're bringing their little toxic, chaotic energy close to me, is automatically bringing it down, because this is simple math. This is simple math. So if I was at 100 and they're coming in bringing something and they're knocking me down, 50 pegs? They're taking half of they're mixing it in. Like, my water was clear and now it's getting muddy now because of their energy coming into the water. Yeah. Your abundance is completely relying on it. And that's why oftentimes it seems like the second you let these people go, something positive floods into your life. Something you've been wanting starts to manifest. Or something, God was holding back from you. Now he could give it to you because guess what? He didn't want those people to be able to steal it from you, to be a part of it. And until you are holding yourself back from getting these things, the longer you hold on to that toxic energy. Because you're off path. Because he's like, you already know what you have to do. You're just not doing it. So now you're kind of just stalling yourself. And not stalling because time is still going, but you're stalling your progression. And you're choosing to, in the meantime, repeat this cycle with whatever time God is granting you. All right. So your higher self, your mental clarity, all of that is all waiting. That's a part of your abundance as well. Abundance is just not material. It's not just money. Okay. It really isn't. So I always teach on this channel about having, not being so one dimensional on how you look at things. And a lot of times that's a part of the reasons why people can't let go of things too, because they're only looking at it one way. Like we don't just have one way streets. We got 2 ways, 3, 4, all types of lanes. Okay. Like it is just not a one way thing. So our perspectives certainly have to get shifted here. And your higher self is waiting on you. It's like, come on, like it's reaching back for you at this point. The hand is right there for you to, get promoted. Get promoted. You deserve better. All right. Along with this, your peace. Your peace is waiting on this. Your peace. Who is worth your peace? Can someone please? I have questions. Why are these people worth your peace? You got to ask yourself that. Who on this earth is worth your peace? Okay. So it's like fighting against yourself at that point. It's like you're telling yourself you don't deserve to have that peace by, allowing this caliber person to come into your life and run amok and keep, presenting this to your energy and keeping you in these cycles because you're agreeing with it at that point. All right, let's get promoted here. We already know. And this is time that you don't get back. Time is the thing you don't get back. Money, they took all your money, you can get it back. And guess what? Their karma is you're going to get it back 2, 3, 4, 10-fold. But you don't even know that in a moment because you're not even giving yourself a chance to recoup. Because God saw that. He saw all of that. He saw it. He's going to make it right, but you have to provide the opportunity to get that. You're blocking your good karma at that point. You're blocking your good karma. All right. So, let's talk about the self-respect and your dignity. Not letting go. People having a hard time letting go. It's, is going against your self-respect and your dignity. Like they tried to take that from you. You don't have to agree with that. Just because somebody else doesn't respect you, it certainly doesn't mean you don't have to respect you. That's the thing with this codependent energy. It's too much running off of the external. Okay, you don't have to value me the way that I value me, but it's not going to change the value I have in me. And that's the problem. We can't just be letting people run off, lowering, having the ability to lower our self-respect and our dignity for ourselves. Because guess what? It's self-respect. The self is supposed to determine that. You are, not other people. It's not based off of other people. All right. So, it's halting up the healing process, having a hard time letting go is halting us in the healing process. Because at a certain part of the healing process, once you realize it's time to let go, how are you going to get to the next steps if you stuck there? Because you're still interacting with the energy. You still got a foot in or something, right? A lot of times having a hard time letting go, people are having a hard time getting into reality, like stepping into the truth, living their truth. And a lot of times they're still telling themselves some lies, like, you know what, it's going to be better next time, or maybe they're really sorry. Who cares if they're really sorry? Okay, whatever. You ever heard that saying, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me? Okay, they could be sorry every time. But if they're not really changed as a person, they're going to keep doing it anyway. This is like a crackhead. Okay, maybe they felt sorry after they stole out of your house 10 times. Are you going to still keep leaving them in there? Are you going to give them the key to your house and give them access because they were sorry? You know, what lies are you telling yourself at that point when you're having a hard time letting go? Sometimes the lies are, that's my soulmate. That's my twin flame. That was my wife. That was my husband. We made these future plans with this person, and it's hard for us to redetermine this future now because we place them all up in a mix, and it's like mentally this cognitive dissonance going on. Like, we don't want to have to envision it another way. We're trying to force the issue, but we're forcing the issue with something that's just hurting us. And that's a part of the sickness right there that needs to be healed. Because the reality is, deep down inside, you already know what you have to do. So we have to stop living a lie, right? We got to get out of those illusions. We have to stop idealizing those love bombs. The more that you're able to just keep it real with yourself, just keep it real with yourself. That's going to help you be able to let it go. Like, not only keep it real, but just receive that. Don't just know it and then try to ignore it. You know what I mean? Like, you got to keep it real and live in your truth. But the truth can't, sometimes people make a lie the truth. People make a lie the truth, okay? And for all of that, your future self, those future plans, you could change them. Like, it's good in life to be a little bit fluid, like water. Yeah, it's good. It's good to be able to reshape. Because if you're so stubborn that it just has to be one way, it's always more than one way. Like, we can't be so fixed on things like that, especially when we know we have to tweak and twerk it. It's like, I know if I don't do this, it's going to cause this harm in my life. But because before I realized I had to do this, I was so stuck on it, I don't want to make the change. That doesn't even make sense. If I were running a business and I'm like looking over some summaries and statements, and I'm like, okay, last quarter, X, Y, and Z, well, we do this, next quarter is going to be better. Why wouldn't I want to be better? Why wouldn't I want to make the change? And that's what a lot of people don't understand about dating, period. Like, we're out here, if you're out here dating, you could just get better. Okay, you had a bad experience, learn from it, and then, okay, I won't have to experience that. Maybe I might have to learn something else, but guess what? I'm going to have to learn that. Yeah, people are kind of like those, your belt notches at that point. And I'm not just talking about like sexually. I mean, like the lessons, you guys, the lessons. And then it's preparing you for that person if that's the case. If that's, what's going to be happening on your journey. But your future self is waiting for you. It is waiting for you, you guys. And here's something that I just want to present to, just on a strictly psychological level that you may not even have realized, especially if you think this person was a narcissist. They never held on to begin with. You were the only one holding on anyway. So you're having a hard time letting go when you're the only one that was really fighting for it. You're the only one really having a genuine relationship. So you're having a hard time letting go, and you're in it by yourself at that point. You're in it by yourself. That's something to really consider there. So really, you're just holding on to yourself, and your own codependency and your own, stuck thoughts, the blockages. Because guess what? They wouldn't be on to the next supply, or they wouldn't be doing this and that. Like they're on because they never really holding on anyway. Not in the way that you were thinking. A lot of times people have a hard time holding on because they're having issues with faith. They have issues with faith because a lot of times people who have been abused a lot or been in a lot of toxic situations, they base their future off of their past. You know, they let all of those beat downs, all those disappointments give them a pessimistic or, a negative outview of what's to come. So when we think about it like that, it's almost like that person can be in a space where they don't even believe they can get better. And when you don't believe you can get better, you might settle for worse, or you might pass up on your happiness. And that lack of faith, it leads to like a fear of failure anyway. It's not going to work out. It's not in the cards for me, or I can't have this, or I can't have that. Well, you know what? Whether you're going to get a husband or a wife anyway, it can certainly be in the cards for you to have some damn peace. It could certainly be in the cards for you to still have an abundant ass life. It could certainly be in the cards for you to dictate and determine, make an executive decision about who is going to be a part of your circle, who deserves to have that. You have all of this control and power still, no matter what. No matter what. But gratitude lets us be happy for whatever we have, wherever we are, because everybody's journey is everybody's journey. And what God has for you, He has for you. But it's a good place to be happy with what He's giving you. That's a good place to start off at. Even if it means, you know what, it's just me right now. He's dealing with me right now. This may be a season of isolation. It's a season of me to just focus on me for once. For once, to take all that energy up. There's confirmation. I love it when I talk like this. I have multiple phones, you guys. And when my other phone beeps like that, that's a confirmation. I'm taking those as confirmations. All right. It's okay. It's okay. It's a beautiful thing. All you're doing is leveling up. You're leveling up. And then when you get back out and you start bumping and grooving again and socializing, like you're unrecognizable because God was doing a work inside of you. He's doing a work inside of you. And you took the time to allow that work to really marinate, to really penetrate, to get to the root of you, because that's going to make it everlasting at that point. And then you're never going back. You're never going back to where you was. That version of you is done with. It's done with. Thank you for your super chat, sweetie. R Bond. So let's talk about the needing to increase spirituality. And since we're talking about faith, there could be a disconnect from that for many reasons. Shoot, sometimes you guys had narcissists that were in a church saying that, they were of God when they weren't. You're welcome, hon. You're welcome. And all of you are welcome. Yeah. But you know what? This is what I'll say to that, because I've spoken to people who have turned their backs kind of on their religion because they had some very unsavory people. Those people are not God. And guess what? Unsavory people can go everywhere. And I'm not pushing religion on anyone because I'm not the most religious person myself, but I damn sure spiritual. I'm damn sure connected to the source, baby. I feel that in my heart. The Holy Spirit, God, His love, His embrace, it will make me cry. That type of love, it makes me cry because it's completely unconditional. And that person, God, He knows you for all your faults. He knows when you're trying your best and you still fall short. He knows those things. So a lot of times the spirituality, you need to begin tapped into that. And you're missing out on that aspect of helping you through this process. That's a friend when you have nobody to talk to, even when you have a million people to talk to. Tap into the source that created everything. What? That's something that we shouldn't. I'm going to say you shouldn't turn a blind eye to. All right, because that's the one that created you, knows you better than you know yourself. So having that prayer life, meditating, asking for help, be like, I'm struggling. I know you don't want me to go back there. I need your help, God. Please help me. Help me. It's okay. You can pray for that help. And then coming into communities like this, God works through people too. And that's a good thing. But you need to be increasing that spirituality. Don't feel like you necessarily have to go at everything by yourself, because you don't. You just don't need to be going at it with that toxic ass person. That's the thing. There's billions of people in this world, but the people you already know is not going to be a part of your healing process. They were just catalysts, to put you into it. That's all they were, a catalyst in your self-development, because life really is a classroom, and sometimes it takes that crappy experience to bring you to the most beautiful place. I'm telling you, sometimes out of the worst circumstances and situations, the most beautiful things will occur, the most enlightening, the most miraculous lessons that just takes you to a whole another level. All right. And, don't worry about how you had to get there, but just, embrace that new energy, that new knowledge, your eyes being open, your awakening. That's a beautiful thing. And you're not alone. That's the thing. This is a human experience. Look at all these people in this community. You're not alone. You know how many people have gone through these toxic ass situations? And how many of them have not only got to the surviving part, but the thriving part. So it's completely possible. This is not impossible. It is not impossible. So that's a word of encouragement right there. It's not going to be too hard for you. It's just a lot of psychological things that are going on in these trauma bonds. And once you educate yourself to know, hey, after going through this type of abuse, it's normal to feel this way and that way. It's normal to go through these type of stages. It's a part of the healing process. But now that I know, I don't have to beat myself up on it. I can just, I can go through these phases, but I don't have to let it scare me into running back into where I was getting hurt anyway. And then that's just going to lead me to talking to the codependency issues. Because having a hard time letting go often can mean that there's some codependency issues there, or the trauma bonds and the soul ties, those haven't been broken. Abandonment issues, fear of being alone. There's some people who don't know how to be single. They don't know how to deal with their own emotions. They're always leaning on other people, to take the steering wheel in their own life. When you're being called to be courageous right now, you don't have to know everything. Sometimes that stops people. Well, I don't know what the future holds. I'm used to doing, because sometimes people will stay in a situation just because it's familiar and comfortable. That's human nature. It really is. But it takes courage. It takes really wanting better, not just knowing it, because you deserve better. You know it. You know it's not right. But it's comfortable and it's familiar. And human beings, psychologically, we really don't like to change. We don't, even when we know we should. Even when we know it. But that's when you have to run off of your logic. That's when you have to be disciplined. Running off of your logic and being disciplined helps a lot. And that's how you can just be operating out of your higher self. Because then it's like, okay, I'm not letting my lower self make these decisions. I know what it wants. It wants to just stay in what it knows. But we're just going to keep getting the same results. I'm intercepting. You can intercept yourself. You can check yourself. You can. You certainly can. All right. So it's just letting go of these negative perspectives as well, you guys. It can't just be this all gloom and doom negative outlook. And a lot of times we're not really ready to fully face our feelings. It's so much inside, because trust me, it's probably not just that one incident. A lot of times there's been a long history, even back into childhood, of things that's going to need to be faced if we're going to do it right now. Because those things from the childhood, chances are playing out in these adult relationships. And that's a lot to face. And it's like, some people don't feel like they're ready to dig that deep. And they're running from themselves at that point. You're running from your healing process. You're running from, being bare and naked with yourself. Well, if you can't be bare and naked with yourself, who can you be bare and naked with? You know? And we can't, having sex with someone is not being bare and naked with them. It's a matter of time. Some people will use that as an escape. But you can't fix a feeling with a feeling. As soon as you have that orgasm or whatever, you have this, your energy is going to shift right back. Those feelings are still going to be there. And then you're just adding these, you're adding more soul ties into your life. You're increasing the endorphins. You're tying the bond with each, sexual interaction. And you're inviting that person's energy into your body. Like, I made a video, like, it might have been a year ago now, where I talked about soul ties. And that's a really good video to listen to. I don't think that I can plug videos on live chats, but maybe I can pin it, somewhere on here. But yeah, a lot of times we're just not ready to really face ourselves and really do the work, really roll up our sleeves and face all of it. Because if you want to do it right, we can't half-ass it anymore. Because that leads us back into similar situations, and we'll meet a new person that acts the same or has similar qualities, and we're still repeating cycles even if we left that other person. All right? Some people are having a hard time letting go because they haven't gone no contact. You're still having them up in your energy too much. I mean, it would be awfully hard to stop doing crack if I was still hanging out with my friends who did it. If I'm sitting at a table and it's right there in front of me, like, it's hard. It's more challenging at that point. Like, you have to have willpower, like, on 1,000. And, when you have trauma bonds and stuff, you're not that strong at first. It takes time to build that type of endurance to where, it could be dangling in front of your face, but your mind is so renewed, your taste buds have completely changed, and it is not even appealing for you anymore. And that's why the other day when I made the video about healing codependency, I was saying how you don't even want to be a chaser. It's nothing inside of you that evokes. If anything, it makes you want to get out of Dodge. It's a huge turn off. It's going to remind you of a place you never want to go again, a situationship you never want to be in again. That's what's going to happen when you've done a certain amount of work. So a lot of people, they may have a hard time letting go because they don't know what to do for the feelings they have for that person, or the feelings they still have for that person. Because regardless as to whether they were being genuine with you, you were being genuine with them. It was a real connection for you. It was real friendship you were extending to them. You were really letting them into your heart space. You were really sharing and caring with them. Shit. So it's like, okay, well, I know I don't want to be with them anymore, but how am I going to let them go? And I'm still having all these strong feelings towards them. I still feel like I love them. Like, what am I going to do with all of that? Like, where do I put that now? Where do I put that? Here's the thing. You can love somebody and never talk to them again. You know why? Because you love yourself more. You can even love them enough to not let them continue their toxicity with you. Like, I'm not going to enable you to be able to do that with me. So you can love somebody and never talk to them again, and because you understand that this person is no good for you. You see all the collateral damage. You see what you're inviting and you love yourself more. It's okay. You could love other people and love yourself though. The problem is it's a conflict where if loving you means I can't love myself. If I got to stop loving myself to love you, there's a problem. That has to become a problem. Cuz that's not healthy and it should not that's not how relationships are set up to be. That's not how it should be. So if that's what I have to give up to love you, then I got to give you up at that point. It doesn't mean that I didn't care about you, doesn't mean that I didn't love you, but it means that I refuse to be toxic. That's a deal breaker. It just has to be a deal breaker, right? Once it becomes to that level, you're not going to have a hard time letting go because your mind is not, because a lot of people feel like, well, if I let them go, it means I didn't love them. It means this. No, it doesn't. Says who? No, it just means that they're not the one for you. You're not willing to be toxic. You're going to walk, you're going to have your love, your self-love. You're going to have boundaries around that. You're not going to allow somebody to take you down in life, to weigh you down, to block your blessings. You're not willing to give up your divine destiny. You're not willing to give up your abundance to have this person. Like, that's asking for too much. God is never going to tell you to give up all of that for another person. That don't even make sense. You're not going to be, it's basically saying, I'm not going to be a sacrificial lamb for this relationship. That means you're not the one for me. Because a healthy relationship is two people lifting each other up, not one person carrying all the weight. And by you doing that, you're being actually dragged down. Because that other person is not even trying to come up to where you are. That's not going to work. It has to get to a place where that's just not good enough for you. And it will never be good enough for me. I will never be in situations where it's unrequited, where this person cannot meet me where I'm at or more. Where I'm the only one in this. I'm the only one offering real friendship and love. I'm the only one being loyal. I'm the only one giving and they're just take. I don't think so. I don't think so. And then devalue it, you're right. Queendom Nation, you're right. Then they devalue it and minimize all that you've done after the fact. Enough has to be enough with that, right? So it's okay, and understanding as well when you're working out of your logic early on because you have to, because the opposite would be working out of your trauma bond, which will lead you right back into the situation. When you're operating out of your logic, you'll know that your emotions it's going to take time for your emotions to catch up with your logic. But that's okay. That's okay. Just give it the time to do that. Because guess what? We may not always feel like going to work, but logic says, I don't want to lose my job, my livelihood. I'm going to pay my bills and X, Y, and Z. So whether you felt like it or not, you're going to do what you have to do. And it's the same thing. You got to do what you have to do to protect yourself, your self-preservation, everything that you have going on. Some of you have children depending on you to be strong for them. And guess what? When you bring that person into your life, you're bringing it into theirs too. Them weighing you down, you can't be the parent you need to be. Them taking resources for you, that's less abundance you have for your children to inherit. For them, you're not reaching your pinnacle because you're letting all these people drag you down, or even this one person, okay? One person is enough to pull somebody down. You will learn about keeping good company. A wise person knows how to keep good company. And if the good company have to just be me, I would rather be alone than be in bad company. A wise person will understand this and the dangers and the stuff that they could be putting themselves, the stuff they could be losing and sacrificing when you keep bad company. A lot of times people are having a hard time letting go because they may need to do some type of spiritual cleanse. The other day I made a video and I talked about how Sometimes these people, well, all the time they're trying to pull on your energy, but some of them get real dark and heavy into it in a way that you might be like, what? Are you serious? Yeah, like trying to do love spells on you and all types of stuff to keep you in their energy, working with a devil, praying to a devil, praying to a dark energy to keep you down, to keep you as a zombie, to keep you stuck, to keep your eyes blocked. But the light is just always going to be brighter than the dark. And if you're tapped into that, whatever they're doing is not going to work. It's not going to work. But spiritual cleansing and stuff, that's a good thing to do. That's a good thing to do. All right, it's a good thing to do. And what might this look like? Is you could do this in all types of levels. Spiritual cleansing could be removing their items out of your property, keeping their energy away from you. Spiritually cleansing could be taking a shower and praying to your God, saying, I'm washing away their energy off of my body. It could be literally just saying it like that. There's a whole bunch of other things that I could say right now, but I don't want to get too, sea salt is a good way to spiritual cleanse yourself. That's why a lot of times people go get in the ocean. Yes, you can spiritually cleanse through the ocean, but if you can't get to a beach, of course, you could do this with some kosher sea salt. Spiritually cleansing is cleaning your house and wiping it down. Yes, it could be burning sage or Palo Santo. It could be, wiping stuff down with some Florida water. After you do a clean, you can mop with it. Yeah, these are some ways to spiritually cleanse. Yes, it is, you guys. It is. And spiritual cleansing is important. If you shared that bed with them for decades and stuff, like, get a new one. Throw that, work on getting yourself a new mattress. Start fresh. Start fresh. There's a lot of ways to spiritually cleanse. Some people do literally do cord cutting type ceremonies, and it's more about what it represents. Like if you mentally saying, what, I'm cutting this cord, I'm cutting this tie to this person. And this is the psychological stuff that I was talking about in the beginning of the video. And it's basically what it represents to you. All right. And the last thing I have here on this list, you guys, about having a hard time letting go, we have to understand life in cycles as well. We have to understand life in cycles. Most people are temporary. Everyone's not going to be with you from start to finish every season. Like some people, that's it. They were just a part of that chapter. Thank God, especially in these type of situations where we're talking about a toxic ass person that meant you no good, that was just there to distract you and keep you down and abuse you and further, wounding your inner child instead of helping you heal it. KK says, I got rid of everything in my house that represented my past relationship. That's a great thing to do, because you don't need the energy that it's holding, and you don't need those reminders, and I'm going to make another talk about leaving the past in the past, because that's something that people have a hard time with doing when we're talking about just letting go, generally speaking, as well. Yes, cleanse your space. Make it yours. It's your space. A lot of times people might even redo things, redo things a lot of times around the house right after that relationship. If they lived with you or they were there a lot and this and that. I got rid of all of it because you know what? It's fake and phony. All that I love you cards, I love you teddy bears. And I'm like, they didn't love me. If they did, they wouldn't have been a goddamn Judas. Like actions speak louder than words. That wasn't love. Like once you realize it wasn't really love, what are you really holding on to at that point? Toxicity, a fantasy world, something that's never going to happen, something that's a waste of your time. What are you really holding on to? And hopefully it's not any type of ego problems, because sometimes our ego don't want to recognize a failure, Shoot, what? The quicker the better. You know, having failures in life don't make you a failure. What makes a person fail in life is by resisting change. Shoot, Walt Disney, how many times did he fall through the cracks before he finally got Disney World? Like, he fell a million times, okay? But all of those doors slammed in his face, all of those no's, all of those attempts and, you know, letdowns and disappointments, it didn't stop him from the ultimate goal, which is what? My peace, my happiness. So all of those you know, relationships that didn't work doesn't mean that I got to lose the relationship with myself. My ultimate goal is what? To be the best version of myself possible. And you know that's not the best version of yourself possible. What are you afraid of? Some people, you know, this is not my language, but some people are actually afraid of being better. Shoot. You know, because I don't have these type of fears, you guys, but I'm pretty good at jumping into other people's shoes. But this is just some of the things that people have a hard time letting go of. What they thought it was going to be. Okay, well, now you know what it is. You ain't even got to think of what it's going to be. They're already showing you what it is. And you know that's not good enough. You know it's not good enough. Start speaking life. Start being more positive. Even if you don't feel like you're there yet, tell yourself it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to survive. I'm going to thrive. I'm going to overcome this. Better days are waiting for me. Start speaking life into yourself. You know, a lot of times in a community is very pessimistic, is very negative, is very woe is me, is very victim mentality, and we got to step out of that energy too, because that can make us have a hard time letting go, because then you just feel beat up and busted and disgusted all the time. You're dusting the dirt off your shoulders, okay? Shoot, this is not the time to be, you know, watching doom and gloom stuff. Watch you some comedies, like lift the energy around you, point blank, period. Laugh. It's time for you to laugh. Hasn't that person made you cry enough? I be feeling like because I went through all of that, it's my time to be happy. It's my time to do better. It's my time. Because I said it is. Because I'm ready for it. Because I'm declaring that. You see what I'm saying? It's not, it has to be because of that. Shoot, you'd be a fool if you think I'm going to be spending any more of my time going through any more of that BS. I got too much life to live. I have too many beautiful things to experience, other beautiful people to connect with. And you know what? They just going to have to be on the sidelines. I've seen so many beautiful survivors, and I'm looking at them. I'm like, do you even know how beautiful you are? So a lot of people, they have a hard time letting go because they don't even see their self-worth. That toxic person did. That's why they wanted to keep you down. That's why they want you to believe you're less than, because that's the only way they could keep you in their energy and benefit from you. They want to benefit from your light. Well, it's time for you to benefit from your life, your light on the ultimate level, though. On the ultimate level, you need to be glowing from the inside out. That should be your goal. And anything that's getting in the way of it, it got to go. It has to go. Point blank, period. Point blank, period. You've suffered enough. No more martyrs. We got to get rid of that martyr stuff. That's not the way life was supposed to be for you. That's not the plan. That is not the goal, and it's certainly not winning. It is not winning. It's not winning, you guys. But I know you can do better. I really hope that this talk has, you know, gave somebody something to think about that's having a hard time letting go of a toxic person. All right, I hope it helps. This is a good community. There's lots of other videos on this channel. As a matter of fact, I have a motivational playlist for survivors of toxic relationships. You can go to that playlist. That's a pick me up playlist that just breathes life into you. You can just play that. while you're cleaning, while you're at the gym, if you're working from home, it's like a little podcast. You can just keep listening to it. It's going to lift you up, because that's what you need right now. You need your life source is a replenishing that needs to be occurring. And I'm going to point that out. It wasn't even on my list, but I'm going to point this out. A lot of times you're having a hard time letting go because you're not filling your cup right now. It's still empty. And what codependency does is it looks for external things to fill it. And you're used to that person filling it with a bunch of garbage, I might add. But it's time for you to take ownership of your cup, and you need to start filling it with as much positive stuff as you can. That's going to uplift you, that's going to revitalize you, that's going to get your mind, get you thinking clear, get you moving right. Like, that's what you need right now, to make sure that you're filling your cup with the right thing. And all the stuff that you used to do with them, you have to find a replacement. When we're trying to break habits, especially poor habits, we got to replace them with another. But if you have not replaced the habit with something else, it's going to make you want to go back to what you were already doing. If you were texting them all day, you got to find something else to communicate with. You have to find something else to have your mind busy with. Like, you got to replace one habit with another. If I were saying, okay, well, I used to eat fried chicken, okay, now I do shake and bake in the oven. Oh, okay, I use my air fryer. I replaced it with something else healthier, though. You see what I'm saying? Find a way to find replacements. If you used to go out with them every weekend or every Friday, find something else to do with that time. Don't just be staring at the wall when that time period comes around. Then it's going to make you're going to have too much time on your hand. You got to get busy living at this point. Get you a sheet of paper out. Start writing down what are some things that you want to do. All types of goals and all types of levels of your life. What are some personal goals? Okay, you know what? I wasn't working out. I'm going to start going to the gym. Oh, you know what? I want to go see the Grand Canyon this year. You know what? I did stop doing all of my little hobbies and I was so wrapped up to them, but I used to enjoy doing that and I got away from it. I'm going to reconnect with this and that. How about, the friends and family that do care about you? Maybe you weren't talking to them as much. You could start back talking to them. Some of you need to get yourselves into therapy. Get yourself a therapist. I offer life coaching as well. That could be a good resource for you as well. Like, start getting yourself living your life and not the codependent life that you had with that person. Now it's time for you to start writing out and mapping out another way of life for yourself. And I'm not saying you have to be nonstop all day where you can't even know, because in actuality, you need to learn how to meditate again if you haven't or wasn't. These are great things to start incorporating with yourself. And that's a part of getting back in touch spiritually. Because you could be sitting there and, messages will start coming through. The more you cleanse yourself, the more you can be, you're going to be more of that vessel again. It's going to connect you with your guts and your discernment. And that's when you're going to hear God's voice the loudest. And it's going to be so obvious. He's going to start telling you stuff. You're going to start laughing about it. Like, you're going to have that relationship. Because he's going to give you an answer. You can ask God questions. People are like, don't be questioning God. Go ahead and ask. Ask him to reveal it to you if you don't understand and you don't know. Why did I have to go through this? And there's a lot of logical reasons. You'll find those here on this channel too. Okay? So if he led you even to this channel, he's trying to help pull you out. Okay? He definitely is. That was confirmation. I love that. I love that. And I love you guys. All right. I really hope that this talk has helped somebody. Queendom Nation says they know when they don't see a light, and they have a ball with that. Well, a lot of times they be kicking and screaming because they see your light, and when they don't have access to it, okay? Yeah, that's when they become the chasers. They're like, oh, wait a minute, like, they really serious this time? They're going to have to test you out. They're not going to believe it. They're not going to believe it. Like, oh, no, I don't believe this. They done let me come back 30 times. No way have I lost my, yes, you did. Yes, you did. Okay. All right, you guys. Well, I have to go. It was really great, stopping in with you guys and everybody. Make sure you hit a like, share, subscribe. I'm trying to grow the channel, you guys. These are really messages that I do think that could help so many people, honestly. All right. If there's something that you would like for me to talk on, I always say this, leave it down in the comment sections. And other than that, keep going. It's going to get better. Each day that you go forward is going to get better. I'm not saying that you can't ever have a day where you just feel sucky, but those moments will start being more far in between as you get further in the healing process. All right. All right, you guys. I wish nothing but the best for you on your healing journey. And I want all of us to make it there because it's completely possible. Just decide to do it and get yourself as educated as you are. Arm yourself up spiritually and psychologically, mentally. You're going to be okay. All right. And just don't go back. Do not go back. Do not go back no matter what. All right. So keep working on yourself. Never give up, of course. And until next time, you guys, please, please take care. Take care.